Everything you think Epicurus stood for, he opposed. The philosopher of pleasure warned against pleasure itself. Break time equals 600 mems. What he understood, neuroscience confirmed centuries later. The inner citadel. History gave Epicurus the wrong name. We are paying. Here at the inner citadel, midlife is a summons. Epicurus died in agony, kidney stones and dysentery simultaneously. He wrote, that last day was the most blissful. Not because pain stopped, because 40 years earlier, insight. A note, this explores philosophy, not clinical treatment. If this feels like your crisis, seek professional support. So what did Epicurus actually believe about pleasure? He classified desire into 3 categories, only one valid. Natural and necessary, food, shelter, friendship. These alone satisfy. Natural but unnecessary, luxury, excess, the upgrade you didn't need. Vain desires, fame, power, limitless wealth, no end point. Vain desires, Epicurus wrote, come from society, not nature. They arrive from outside, colonize the inside, never satisfied. This misreading began 2,000 years ago, still running. The word Epicurean came to mean devoted to sensual indulgence, a complete inversion of everything Epicurus prescribed. We are living, right now, inside that misreading. There is a reason pleasure stops working specifically after 40. Not aging, not wrong choices. It is a mechanism. Neurological, predictable, and 2,000 years old. Brickman and Campbell named it at Northwestern, 1971. They called it the hedonic treadmill. The data, merciless. Lottery winners. Accident victims, 1 year out, same. Why? The windfall resets. The loss resets. We always adapt. But a neurological difference remained Brickman couldn't explain. Berridge at Michigan discovered something that changes everything. There is a difference between wanting and liking something. Dopamine, we blame it for everything, drives wanting. The opioid system drives liking. Both systems, they separate. You can compulsively pursue what gives you no pleasure. The wanting fires. The liking doesn't respond. You notice. A woman I know, 43, successful, inexplicably hollow. She plans the weekends, does what she loved, nothing. Not depression, her word, not burnout, something more precise. Berridge names it. Decades on, wanting intensified. Liking collapsed. This is not a defect. It is neurological, documented. Anna Lembke at Stanford watched this for 2 decades. Her 2021 book, Pleasure and Pain Share One Scale. Every dopamine spike tips the scale. Pain rebounds equally. The more intense the pleasure, the deeper the trough. We reach for more. Higher intensity, the trough deepens. You wanted it desperately. You got it. Felt nothing. Berridge at Michigan. Wanting and liking are separate systems. Dopamine drives wanting, not satisfaction, not the experience of liking. You can compulsively pursue what gives no pleasure when obtained. After 40, wanting intensifies, liking fades, the trap. What we found in this literature stops us cold. 3 frameworks, centuries apart, arrive at the same finding. That convergence is where this investigation becomes something else. The part neuroscience missed, Jung already understood. A 2025 PMC study, dopamine neurons directly oppose satiety, pleasure-seeking and satisfaction, neurologically in direct opposition. Pursue pleasure harder, satisfaction recedes further, by design. When did you last feel fully alive? Be honest. Not stimulated, not distracted, alive, needing nothing to change. The 2025 hedonic well-being research found a specific number. Minimum life satisfaction occurs at age 41.8. Not early 20s, not late 50s. 41.88. Not coincidence? The psyche demands a shift, evolutionary signal. From hedonic orientation, pleasure maximization, to eudaimonic orientation, meaning, purpose. Awakening to the examined life Epicurus prescribed. If this resonates, the next episode goes deeper still. Jung wrote in Volume 9, Something Worth Sitting With. Make the unconscious conscious, or it directs your life. You call it fate. It is the shadow feeding. The neuroscience, Jung, Epicurus, they're about to collide. What emerges from that collision changes the entire picture. Epicurus, Lembke, and Jung all found the same thing. More pleasure doesn't produce happiness, it produces deeper hunger. The Convergence thesis surprised us in the research. Your pleasure seeking after 40 is not hedonism, a spiritual cry. Until unconscious becomes conscious, it directs your life completely. Every compulsive craving after 40 is the shadow speaking, not weakness. The psyche crying for authentic expression denied. The affair, the spending, the drinking starting earlier each year. Jung wrote to Bill Wilson, the AA founder, in 1961. The craving, he wrote, is a spiritual thirst, misdirected. Shadow grasps pleasure because persona denies authentic life. Jung's libido concept diverges from Freud's here, crucially. For Jung, libido is psychic energy. All the self craves. When the persona suppresses authentic expression, libido redirects into compulsion. Epicurus, without brain imaging, intuited this 2 millennia ago. Vain desires arise from a society that misdirects authentic seeking. Fame, wealth, status, vain. No natural satisfaction point. After 40, a sober reckoning, the vain pursuit arrives. Here is the reversal that changes this entire investigation. The emptiness after 40 is not failure, a diagnostic signal. An awakening. The psyche speaks truth, withheld for decades. Jung wrote this at 62, after his own shadow work. He wasn't theorizing, he was confessing. That distinction matters. Individuation, what midlife is demanding of you, right now. From life's first half, achievement to meaning, rebirth. From the accepted self toward the self that's actually yours. Stoics and Epicureans disagreed on much. They converged here. External goods, wealth, status, unnecessary for happiness. Both agree. Stoics called them indifference. Epicurus called them vain. Same category. What remains when you stop pursuing them? That is it. Ataraxia. Epicurus's word. Tranquility. Freedom from anxiety. Not bliss. Not ecstasy. Needing nothing more than what is. Lembke's finding lands exactly here. Dopamine fasting restores baseline. 30 days abstaining from chosen pleasure resets the treadmill. Simple things become vivid again. Documented neurochemistry, not metaphor. Epicurus did this at the garden. Simple food. Deep conversation. He called friendship the greatest pleasure available to humans. Of all wisdom acquires, friendship is by far the greatest. Attachment neuroscience confirms this. Social bonds reduce threat detection. 3 traditions. 2 400 years of separate inquiry, one convergent finding. More pleasure after 40 produces deeper emptiness. The diagnosis. Epicurus' actual prescription. The examined life. Not indulgence. He wrote it in the letter to Menocius, 300 BC. The pleasant life is not produced by drinking bouts and revelries, nor by lust, nor the enjoyment of luxury foods. By sober reasoning, examining the motives behind every choice. Sober reasoning. Examining why you reach for what you reach. This is the practice. It begins tonight, if willing. We offer a specific protocol, not generic self-help advice. Part 1. Identification. Tonight before sleep, write one sentence. Complete this. The pleasure I reach when avoiding something. Do not censor, do not edit, shadow speaks in drafts. Part 2. Which of Epicurus's categories does this belong? Natural and necessary, unnecessary, or vain, no natural limit. Honest classification is the beginning of sober reasoning. Epicurus's words. Part 3. What would authentic expression actually look like? Not the socially acceptable version, the version the persona suppressed. When the shadow's demand is heard, compulsive force diminishes. Not suppression, integration, transformation, shadow's energy made conscious. The shadow protocol has 7 stages. We covered 3 today. We want to be transparent about what any video accomplishes. Jung's model is 100 years old, assumptions challenged. Use this as a lens, not gospel. That is integrity. This framework helps. It does not replace a trained therapist. If this feels destabilizing rather than illuminating, your signal. Bring it to a professional who can work with it. Epicurus understood the examined life is the pleasurable life. Not maximum sensation, minimum unnecessary suffering. That is it. He died writing to his friend, describing that day blissful. The body's pain enormous, joy in his heart greater. He chose across 40 years to pursue the right pleasures. Friendship, philosophy, tranquility from wanting only the right things. This line from the Principal Doctrines is worth sitting with. Of all means to happiness, friendship is far the greatest. Not productivity, not achievement, not the upgrade or next experience. Friendship, real conversation. Seen in seeing. People who know. The inner citadel is not isolation, a garden of depth. The practice awaits. Tonight's first sentence begins the examined life. Full breakdown pinned in the comments, complete Epicurean protocol.